how does Teacher Mercy end up in the teaching profession? That's a question I want to ask all my guests.
At that point in life, I was desperate. And I think as many teachers, they usually take education as a last resort.
Yeah.
The truth is, I did not see myself as a leader. Okay, yes, education, but at the forefront, I felt like I was too young, too inexperienced, too wet behind the ears.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up as an introvert, I was not a very talkative person. Teaching has made me this.
Has made you someone who can get out and
Yes, the
speak.
voice. In as much as
I
you're
love that.
growing in
I love that.
expertise, yes, temper yourself and stay submitted,
To the
because it is in the
authorities.
submission that you will actually grow. You do not gain anything from it. Is literally cutting off the branch that you're seated on.
Exactly.
One thing about growth, you've got to put it to use.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Many times, and this is something I would encourage, you may not go for the master.
Yeah.
Now there is a proliferation of courses online.
Yeah.
They're so accessible now. When you get that skill, find a way to use it. Put it to use, and it will actually take you to the next level.
Two years ago, while I was pursuing my master's degree in sociology of education, as I was doing my dissertation, I had to interview teachers. I interviewed 50 teachers and I was asking them a question. Would you be willing to pursue a course in education as you further your studies? You will be shocked. About 80% of those that I interacted with said they were not willing to do so. Almost 15% said they would, but they were going to pursue courses like human resource, public administration, and other courses. About 5% were saying they would, but they were also non-committal. This experience left me with a question. Why are teachers not as willing to invest in their professional growth? We want to explore that question today. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Teacher Podcast, a space where we get to amplify the voices, the journeys, and the ideas of the educators who are shaping learning in the classroom on a daily basis. The purpose of this space is so we can be able to motivate, to inspire, and to be able to equip those that are in the classroom to thrive and not just survive. I am Teacher Flavia, your host, a teacher by profession and a teacher trainer, and I am extremely passionate about the teaching profession. Today on set, we are joined by Dr. Mercy. Dr. Mercy is a teacher just like us. And as you're going to see, she's very young, but I'm calling her doctor because she has a PhD. She has a PhD in education evaluation, research and evaluation. She has a master's in education leadership, Bachelor of Science with Education. If she was able to do it, surely we all can. And so we're going to have a conversation with her around that same topic that I've just talked about. And so, Dr. Mercy,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you, Teacher Flavia.
I want us to start it right there.
Yes.
Why do you think teachers settle,
Goodness.
in your opinion, before we can even talk about all the other things? Why do you actually think so?
Well, hello everyone. Teacher Mercy here. Teachers, I think there's so much. There's so many reasons, and they're always particular to an individual and their own life experiences. But for the most part, I would say it is a frustration with the education profession in our country and how it operates, the realities of it. There are not very many opportunities to go higher because it's very restricted as you go higher. So it's a frustration. People do not see what more they can do with education. And I hope that today we will expand people's horizons and hopefully they will be able to dream more in education.
We have the right guest for today. So I want us to start there, but I want to take us back. Your Teacher Mercy, meaning you are a teacher, how does Teacher Mercy end up in the teaching profession? That's a question I want to ask all my guests. How do you end up teaching?
Wow, where do I begin? Let me start with my childhood story,
Please.
because it's important.
It is. Take us back. Take us
Yes.
back.
I was born in Kapchora, Mount Elgon, on the slopes of Mount Elgon. So yes, I cannot run to save my life. But yes, my dad, he was an athlete, super athlete, but more importantly, he was a teacher. He was a primary school teacher, and a great one. And my mom was a homemaker. She never went to school. Her dad was very rich, but he did not believe in education for girls. So my mom went up to P3. My mom, Flavia, has been such an inspiration for me. Of course, my dad too, because they've sacrificed so much for us to get to where we have. I went through primary school. I went through high school with a lot of problems and challenges, school fees, the like. You know how it is. People hear the accent and they hear a bit of Kenyan, but I was not privileged. I was actually, my dad went there as a teacher during the Idi Amin times. So I grew up in Nairobi, but as a poor Kenyan kid. Not Kenyan, Ugandan, but really
Ugandan kid raised in Kenya.
So by the story is long, but we ended up doing high school here in Uganda, which was a dream that my dad had for a very long time. And he wanted me, his dream for me was medicine. It wasn't my dream. I have to say it wasn't. It wasn't. I actually was passionate about storytelling. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to do, I love the art of the story. But it was not Dad's dream for me. As fate would have it, I did amazingly in the sciences. If you search my name in the annals of Kapchora district, you'll find an 8 in 8 somewhere there.
Oh, wow. You were the people who got 8 in 8.
People.
All right.
But because of these challenges and because of finances, I couldn't make it to do
medicine.
I went to the poorer schools that my dad could afford. Well, they're good schools. I went to Sebei College, Tegeres in Kapchora district. Very good school. Just very challenged. You know how rural schools
I can
be.
imagine.
But by God's grace, I still did really well with my PCB math, only that I got a government scholarship to do education. And my dad said, absolutely not. Not. He said, my child shall not be a teacher.
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
He had gone through so many challenges in education. And
as a teacher
himself. He did not, I think his dream was bigger for his daughter that was excelling in the sciences.
Yeah.
So he said, absolutely not. And I was tired of PCB math. And I said, Dad, I will do the education, because I could not imagine going back to senior 5 to struggle with PCB math.
Wait. He wanted you to go back?
He wanted me to go back. He said, you know what? I have failed you. I'm going to take you to the Nabisunsas and the Gayazas. Let me look for the money. It was very, very, let me look for the money and take you back. And I said, no, I will go and do the education. With a heavy heart, he allowed me to go and do the education. Did I like that I was going to do education? I have to say I was non-committal. At that point in life, I was desperate. And I think as many teachers, they usually take education as a last resort.
Yeah.
This is what they have. And I think you've seen this, Flavia, being in the School of Education, in whatever university, you realize that the education students are brilliant. It reminds you of the saying, if you can't teach, if you can't do something, you teach.
Yeah.
Education students are usually those who could have been the doctor, could have been the engineer, just fate or something.
They ended up here.
They ended up there. But I have to say, I actually, being in Bara University, doing education was hope for me. It was hope. Because the other option was sit down at home for a year, sell tomatoes or whatever else was available as I wait for dad to,
Get
come up with
money.
money, because he was determined to take me to the cream of the cream. I said, it's okay.
It's okay.
I will do it. So that was the alternative. So
And
this
he
was
let
hope.
you?
He did. He said, okay, fine. It was half-hearted. He could see that the alternative he was giving me was not, because there was no telling how long I would sit at home waiting for the funds for the great schools. But I went to Mbara University of Science and Technology and I gave it my all, Flavia, because this was my straw. The dying man clutches at a straw. This was my straw. And I have to tell you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think the most challenging part for me was the first teaching practice.
I was going to ask about the teaching practice.
I have grown
Tell
up.
us about that
I
one.
have grown up as an introvert. I was not a very talkative person. Teaching has made me this.
Has made you someone who can get out and
Yes, the
speak.
voice. But I grew up as an introvert and I didn't talk much. But now, first school practice, Baranyanji Girls. I was honored to, yes, I was honored to go to Baranyanji Girls High School. And oh my goodness, I talked. Flavia, I talked more than I had talked my whole life. I mean, you're a teacher.
So you have to talk.
Promise you, I would go back to my room and my jaws would be aching.
From talking.
From talking.
But at least the girls didn't bully you.
They did it. Well, maybe a bit. You know how it is. But it was wonderful. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed teaching chemistry and biology to those young ladies. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
That was your first school practice.
That was my first school practice. I felt like I belonged. I really did. And sometimes I would sit back and think, where was I going with this life? I'm so happy that I went into education. The joy of education and teaching, of course, it has its challenges. It's not a secret. But the joy of it is being with those children. The life, the opportunity to open their eyes to things that they... Oh my goodness, it's wonderful. There's no feeling like it.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
There isn't. There really isn't. Yeah.
You see the kids thrive and you feel like,
yes,
I'm a part of that.
Yes.
So I can completely relate. So you're done with your first school practice.
Practice, and I think I can do this. I go back into third year. And things become more challenging because it was biology, chemistry. I dropped biology, took on chemistry as a major.
You had that option?
I did. Okay. I did at Mbara University. You could major with one thing. And so I majored in chemistry and it was very challenging. But I pushed on. And second school practice was Mary Hill Girls High School.
You were in Barara, so you were like, you were in all the... Good schools.
It was amazing. I tell you, I'm glad I went to those schools because I just saw all that I could be in this profession. If I had any doubts before, the doubts were removed. I knew I belonged in the teaching profession.
Oh, wow. It's so inspiring.
Yes.
So when you've graduated and you're done, where does the actual real teaching start?
And then reality hits.
Please.
Because not everyone gets to teach in Maryhill or Baranyanji. Because it's very competitive to continue in those schools.
So you were not able to stay?
No, I was not able to secure a position there. And so I had to go to look for a school. And I found a school, I will not mention it here, but it was a school in the community in Mbara. And life was
very different.
It truly was.
You faced the true realities of a teacher on ground. Yeah.
Because at this other school where now I was a teacher proper, I had a huge class of 120 of, each, almost on average. Like the classes were huge. And
120.
controlling them was so hard. And oh my goodness, the marking was a nightmare. And the payments were just not forthcoming. And oh my goodness, I remember we went home the 1st December. It was a private school, of course. And we went home without
payment.
the December payment.
Oh my
Flavia, it was painful.
Oh my God.
It was so painful.
And yet this is the reality of
This
many
is the
teachers
reality
out
of
there.
many teachers. And what will you do?
What will you do?
You know, so we went home with, and I can't say I was disillusioned. I had accepted this is where I belonged. Yeah. And so I tried to look for another school. Thankfully, I had an opportunity. I didn't have to go back to the other private school. But
so you were there up until December?
December, just 3 months.
Stuff, it was hard. You were like, that's it.
Yes. And then God escorted me into soft life again.
Soft life.
Yes. I got an opportunity to teach in Wakiso at an organization called the Rafiki Foundation. And in Rafiki's, life is as soft as it can be for a teacher. You have a
life indeed.
Small, wonderfully manageable class of 15 students per class.
15.
In a comfortable room. You have every apparatus you could ever hope for. It's just a matter of requisitioning. It was nice. It was very nice. And I thrived and I enjoyed it once more. And afterwards, I had an opportunity again to move on to Watoto Childcare Ministries, where I met Miss Flavia. And yes, and I transitioned to Watoto in 2014. And again, I must say it was soft. Many teachers do not have the opportunity to teach in places like Watoto. But I have to say I have been on both sides of the coin. So I totally understand what a teacher would be facing when you are telling them you need to grow. You need to do something for yourself. You need to be better. And
they don't get it.
How? How? You know? So I've been on both sides, but I'm grateful for the privilege to be a teacher. I really am.
Awesome. Is there any experience that you've had in the profession that I know you have shared with us, the Voranyanji story and all, but during this time post-graduation that just really made you stay and decide, you know what, I'm not
moving on.
This is it.
Yes.
This is what I saw. This is what I want to do.
There's so many. But yes, some of the ones that stand out.
Yeah.
My chemistry lessons. This was immediately comes to mind at Watoto. It was a senior 1 class. So you're just introducing them to chemistry, and science is wonderful.
Yeah, very.
So you're just introducing them to chemistry. And so we were talking about states of matter. And we wanted to do water vapor. Water is an excellent thing for demonstrating the states of matter. So it was one of those really, really hot, must have been early in the year. So it's really, really, really hot. And so my lesson was in the afternoon. So I took my own water bottle and I put it in the fridge overnight. And then I brought it to class. So they've just come in from lunch there. Everyone's sweater is off. And we're in the lab. And I bring my water and I lift it up and it is misting on the outside. And everyone's like, some water. And then I asked them, so guys, is my bottle sweating? And then they had, they do all the guesses. Senior ones are fun.
Yeah.
All kinds of crazy answers. And then I get to explain to them, guess what? It's actually not. It has nothing to do with the water in the bottle. This is actually water from the atmosphere that is condensing on the bottle. Would you believe that there is actually water in your atmosphere? This is proof that it's there. So just their eyes.
Eyes were like,
wow. It's so cool. And others, like, you do an experiment and you tell them it's going to do this. And then they see it happen. I remember the one about where you have a candle and you cover it and then it goes off,
Mhm.
and then you put in a
oxygen.
stick.
Oh.
Yes, a stick of and then it lights up again.
And
They're
then
like,
goes,
oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's just opening. I would sit back and reflect and like, I have the privilege to open their eyes to the beauty and the wonder of their world.
My goodness, you just
it's I get to do that. And I get to do it in a way that, is excellent.
Yeah.
I get to do it in a way that stays with them.
Yeah.
So because even today, my former students say, you made me see science differently.
In a different way.
So I get to do it in a way that inspires them, that just changes them for that day.
Yeah.
And hopefully for longer. But
forever,
even just for
light
that day.
the bulb, so they are hungry for more.
That's what a teacher gets.
The privilege that we get.
I know.
To be a part of that.
That's what
I'm struggling to stay in my seat. I'm like, oh my goodness. Which is so good. But thank you so much for sharing all that. Just hearing how you've gotten to where you are is very inspiring. But now to what we wanted to talk about today, which is the part of growth. At what point in your teaching journey did you feel like, I think I needed more and I wanted to grow more? And how easy, how difficult was it to make the decision for more?
Yeah. Well, in as much as I was happy and I felt aligned, I felt, that I understood that this is what I needed to do, this is what I was called to do. I did not exactly settle. I did not want to be in the class. I always wanted to be more, do more.
Yeah.
And so I gave myself 5 years.
Okay.
5 has always been my number for some reason. So when I graduated, I gave myself 5
years to teach.
I said, I'm going to teach in the classroom for 5 years. After that, I need to find a higher place or not go to the next step. And so I got into teaching, and 5 years is approaching. 5 years finds me in Watoto. And I am teaching, and I'm very happy doing my chemistry and my biology. But then
it's soft life.
Yes. And I say soft because there's insurance, there's assured salary. Assured,
not like the other
very
one.
Important. And so I give year 5 is now I'm in year 5.
Yeah.
It was actually 2015 because I graduated in 2010. So so it was 2015. And I was starting to get an unease. I think my spirit also witnessed it this time. So I started getting an unease. I need to upgrade. But upgrade to what? I'm happy where I am. And so I thought human resource. I just didn't feel like human resource.
Oh my goodness.
Or maybe psychology and counseling. I just didn't feel it. But I was chatting with a colleague in the lab one day. I was preparing for a lesson, and he was marking, and he was telling me he's doing his master's in Nairobi. I'm like, tell me more. And the more he told me, the more I realized. I just felt in my head.
That's what I want to do.
It was a master's in educational leadership. And I said, that's it. Because Flavia, I had always been, I don't know, an ideas person. Flavia was my leader. She's spilling the beans. Even now, she's still saved as HM Flavia.
Mercy is spilling the beans.
Headmistress Flavia. So I had always, I wasn't a piece of cake. But
let us not get there.
I had always been an ideas person.
Yeah.
Things made me restless easily. I was always thinking this could be.
I remember.
We could do this better.
I remember.
It's one time Flavia. This is before the masters. But I realized that I need to. Science teachers were under some, shadow of what's going on because sciences were being performed so badly at UNEB, and the administration was getting restless. And so we were summoned
Yeah.
as science teachers, explain yourselves.
Yeah.
And now we're going to tag your pay to,
The performance.
which happens in many places,
Yes.
I think. And so I was very restless. I was not happy.
How?
Because I knew I knew what was in the classroom.
Yeah.
I knew what is facing me
Yeah.
as a teacher. I was not happy. Flavia, I went and I sat down with a computer.
And you wrote a letter.
No.
What did you do this time?
I researched. I read. I didn't even know the basics of research because my undergraduate was in sciences, experimental what. Now this is social sciences. I looked up. I was like, what is the issue? I want to convince this administration that it is
Beyond.
Yeah, it's beyond
We
the
have a
teacher.
contribution, but there are other factors.
I
that are-
read, I studied, and I searched.
Mercy.
I prepared a presentation. During pupil-free week, or the first week, I asked for permission
to
make
present.
this. I named it the science problem. My former colleagues often laugh about it after.
Wait a minute. Were you given the opportunity to
I was.
Okay.
And the leaders, the top leaders of the school were there. And the principals were there in BHS.
Yeah.
And I presented the science
problem.
problem. And I explained, I was very systematic about it. And I went from white. I went to Japan and Finland and I showed with the circumstances.
you.
I'm telling you.
Only you.
Around the performance of sciences and what were the contributions of different. I poured my heart in. And then I came down to the situation, the context of our school. And I showed the teacher's role, the parents' role, the administration's role. And I came up with a neat conclusion that therefore, ladies and gentlemen, everybody was wrapped with attention. Everyone
had been.
They looked at me and I wrapped it up nicely and said, it is a contribution of everyone. There needs to be a contribution. And you know what the response was? You won't believe it.
No.
They burst out laughing.
For real?
They did.
Oh my God. How did that make you feel?
I was frustrated, as you can imagine, because I felt like I had found the answer. But you can see where my passion for doing better, always I feel like this could be better. That was me. And so I have this opportunity to do, anyway, I said one day I will speak and they will listen.
Oh, that was your resolve.
There'll be a resolve. One day I will speak and they will listen. Because I kept thinking, what was wrong with what I said? But it was dismissed.
I can imagine.
Yes. I don't blame them, but I think it was a shock the way it
was too much for them at that time.
It was probably, and it speaks to the way we in society and in Uganda we receive research and we receive experiences, the lived experiences of teachers, and teachers are saying something and you're like brushing it aside. No, do this. You're making excuses. So
I hear you.
This is a struggle. But anyway, that aside, I decided to go for the degree in education leadership.
What is it about what he said that made you feel like this was it?
So he talked about it was more the approach of the university that I think I fell in love with because it was something I felt I could handle. I didn't have to move or anything. It was like you would do it during the holidays and then you continue during the school term, you are doing your courses online. I felt like that was less disruptive. I was a young mother. I had 2 little babies. And so I felt like it was less disruptive and it was something I could handle. I was hoping to find a scholarship somehow, but Flavia, I paid through my nose.
Now that is something we'd like to hear about because when I was explaining about the research that I did, I found that one of the challenges that stops people from going back are the resources. In a situation that you were in, how were you even able to afford?
I have to say to the teachers that are listening, in as much as in Watoto there was soft life, the soft life was accommodation.
insurance,
health, and maybe possibly schooling for your children. But the salary was moderate. It was not like, and then of course, there are other needs. And so I went in with the hope that I would be able to secure a scholarship somewhere. Unfortunately, it did not happen, but I went in by faith anyway. Did I say I had 2 children? No, I was pregnant.
Pregnant. You had one and another on the way.
Yes. And in fact, when I started my master's in September of 2015, I was about 7 months pregnant with Michelle.
Yo.
And so the tummy was right there. And everybody would be thinking, are you okay?
Aren't you tired?
Make it, right? In fact, when I was doing matriculation, like when we were, everybody was worried. Are you sure? I'm like,
and you traveled from here?
I would on a bus, and my feet would swell. And
oh my goodness!
But I would tell people, it is this that is studying, not anything else.
Don't look at this. Just.
And people would feel so bad. And actually, Michelle is usually called the master's baby by
your classmates then.
Yes. But so I went in hoping that I would secure a scholarship somehow. I didn't. I never did. And so I started on loans. And loans were my bread and butter for about the next 4 years. I finished in 3 years. I finished in 2 years, but the accumulation of loans I had to pay off for about 3 years. 4 years. It was very difficult, Flavia. I cannot promise it will be easy. Growth and expanding yourself, it takes sacrifice. But I have to promise you, it is well worth it. It truly is. And so I did that master's. I would pay a little bit, and then I would study, and then I would take a loan, and then pay some, and then repay the loan, and then take a fresh one. My goodness, Flavia, I wore exactly 2 pairs of shoes for those 3.
No.
I remember I actually cut off my hair one time. And I walked into school and the whole school was like,
what just happened? But you couldn't afford the hair at that time.
I couldn't afford much. Life was to the bare minimum. But I was going through a lot of stuff. But mentally, intellectually, my goodness, I was thriving. I was in my element.
You were having the best time of your life. You couldn't see the shoes and that.
I was so happy. I tell you, when I finished my master's, I had a hangover of about 3 months. What do I do with myself?
This is like, I need to put this to use or something.
But I'm grateful I did. I did put it to use because one thing about growth, you've got to put it to use.
Yes.
Many times, and this is something I would encourage. You may not go for the master. Now there is a proliferation of courses online. They're so accessible now. When you get that skill, find a way to use it. Put it to use, and it will actually take you to the next level. You may even expand. You find yourself eventually doing a master's and holding a very important job because of started with that certificate that you put to use. So I did. I actually started a course. We had this time, a Tuesday hour as at the staff at Watoto, and where it was called some kind of mentorship.
Yes,
I think it was mentorship. And so I requested the administration, and they were so kind. I developed a curriculum.
I kind of remember, but please.
And it was very controversial.
I remember all that, but please go on.
It was because I feel like I was very immature about the way I went about it. I can say that now.
Yeah.
She was my head teacher at the time.
I mean, even as you're speaking, I'm like, the heads of schools that are here, if you have a Mercy on their team, you actually have to give them an opportunity to thrive. I think sometimes it's the insecurity that might bog this teacher down, but given opportunity, I think I just saw you thrive. Anyway, please.
I developed that course, and the course became a weapon against the admin. It became like a sort of tool of rebellion against the powers that be. We became...
Tell me about it.
We became, it felt powerful. Because this is,
Yeah.
and this is something that I think we need to be careful of as teachers as we grow. And you're better than your deputy head teacher. You're better. You know it. They depend on you for this IT thing. Anything. The only one. If you're not there,
then
everything. So we need to be careful that we do
stay
not.
humble.
It doesn't get over our heads, because when it does, we lose utility.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because at the end of the day, it is the opportunity that we need to grow and so we need to temper ourselves in as much as you're growing in expertise. Yes. Temper yourself and stay submitted
to the
because it is in the submission that you will actually grow. You do not gain anything from it. Is literally cutting off the branch that you're seated on.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a tricky part about growth, but it is important. We've all got to do it. Everybody has to grow into it because it is a need. Head teachers, deputies, directors, they need to acknowledge that their subordinates will have the masters. Don't be threatened.
Do not be threatened. Do not be
If
threatened.
they actually use it as a tool, how can they benefit school? What can we do with this? Give them that platform.
Give them that opportunity.
But of course, it's humanity. And so we grow into, we flex, but eventually we find our equilibrium.
Yeah, I hear. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing the master's journey. Now, we get to the part where you now become a doctor. You leave the master's and now you're doing a PhD.
Yes.
We know doctors to be very, very a little elderly, old, because they have spent a lot of time before they could do this. When we look at you, I mean, I'm thinking, at what point now do you decide that, you know what, I actually want to do a PhD and I want to do a PhD in this, and how do you even start?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I got called for, let me take you back to 2016 when I had done my senior 6. I had done really well. Remember senior 4, I got the 18 and broke. Yes. Senior 6, I did the PCB maths, the Bay College. I actually did really, really well. Topped the district in sciences. Not like ground shattering, but it was impressive
good
because of the circumstances surrounding teachers not being there. You really pull yourself up by your socks. So I got, I believe it was 16 points. I topped the district again. I topped the district. And my dad and his brothers decided I was going to do medicine. They decided. I told them I wanted to do my journalism, but they decided, no, you were going to do your medicine. Of course, we did. I didn't make it for the medicine. And so it's like when I got called for education, everyone dumped me like a hot potato. No one cared anymore. Yeah. All the singing, the praise singing,
our best is now going to do education. Can you imagine?
Yes, everyone was so disappointed, but only us in our home, mom and dad, and as we knew what we were contending with. So I in my heart somewhere I said, I will be that doctor, just not.
But I will
kind of like consolation.
And
it stayed. You know those things you speak to yourself. They're very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
We need to learn to speak positive of our lives. So it stayed somewhere. Anyway, I am now around when I was ready to graduate for my master's. It was I had to delay a year because of fees. I had finished everything, but because I had not completed fees, I couldn't graduate.
Oh dear.
You know, paying out.
Oh dear.
It was very painful.
Oh dear.
But I'm grateful. So I graduated, but God had a plan. I graduated in October of 2018. No, 15. Yes, 2018. And then Watoto announced a reshuffle of the administration of the schools. Just at the time.
Just when you were done.
Yes.
It's like it was waiting for you to get it and then you would.
Exactly. So I graduated and then I applied for a role which I did not get. And I was very pissed off that I did not get it. And so I sat frustration.
How can they
I
not
have a master's in educational leadership.
and they are giving this role to,
And I was sat back. And then Flavia calls me to her office. And she says, Mercy, you need to apply for head teacher. I said, absolutely not.
I remember the conversation.
After a lot of back and forth, she convinced me. So I competed for the head teachership and I got it. And yeah,
Sure.
thanks
would.
to you.
I
I
had
never
no
saw
doubt.
myself as a head teacher. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But that dream of being a doctor, it stayed with me because the truth is I did not see myself as a leader. Okay, yes, education, but at the forefront, I felt like I was too young, too inexperienced, too wet behind the ears.
Oh, yeah.
To take on this, it was a big responsibility. So I felt it was premature for me. But I took it on because, remember I said I needed a voice. I needed a name. So that when I spoke, people needed to listen to me. Yeah. People, unfortunately, in Africa, people listen to titles.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be, but people
But
listen
it is.
to titles.
It's the facts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad?
Yeah, it is.
Because there's so many wonderfully talented teachers who have so much to give, but because they're just teachers.
They're in quotes. Yeah.
They hardly listen to. So I accepted and I was like, I'm going to do this for the 3 years of the contract. And then afterwards, I will now have material to go
to do something.
further.
I've been a
And
head
so I
teacher.
gave the Lord, I gave the Lord 3
years, not 5 years this time.
No, this time it was 3 years. I went into the 3 years and I relaxed. I have to tell you, because the life of a head teacher is fast-paced.
Yeah.
And stressful and overwhelming. And so you
have the students, the children, the teachers, the parents,
and the district. And it's just, I had a big school of about, 400 plus students.
That's a huge school.
It was.
And the staff?
About 49 coming to 50.
Yo.
Yes. So I was head teacher for 2 years. And then one time we were doing the, beginning of term meetings. And Flavia, you had gone to the United States for a Fulbright scholarship.
Yes, I had.
Then Flavia came back. What did the United States say to Flavia?
Mercy.
Something happened because Flavia came back and it was like the ground could not contain her.
Oh my goodness.
She was a fireball. And she came and her language was growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
Growth mindset. And so you are speaking to somebody who is, just dealing with a lot. And you're speaking to us. And of course, the teachers are the main recipients, but even as the head teachers, we're listening and you're feeling a bit irritated. Growth mindset. When do I have the time?
Oh, yeah.
But then I felt challenged, Flavia. I have to say I felt challenged. And I asked myself, I said, what more can I do? I can do, where else can I go? How much more can I give? And so it stayed with me the whole of the next year. And then in 2021, COVID comes in and life slows down a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that because when life slowed down, I began to now reflect a bit more on my life and on my journey. And I realized that I had lost the plot a bit. Now the 3rd year is concluding. I think at the time of contract, the restlessness comes in. And so I began to be restless. And during one of the beginning of term meetings, my deputy at the time was sharing, giving the word of God, and he challenged us and said, is there a dream that you have forgotten and that you want to almost letting go? I stood up in front of my team and I told them, I've never wanted to be a head teacher. There was more than I wanted to be, and I'm going to do it. And God took that from God took that word from my mouth, and by July, because that beginning of term was about May, by July, I was applying for my PhD from DAD. And it was a very interesting, it was just a random WhatsApp, these things that are shared on WhatsApp groups, which I almost deleted actually. And I saw it. It was 2 weeks to the deadline.
And they need all this documentation.
Plus a concept note, a 5-page concept note. But then, when it is time, you somehow find you're prepared with everything that you need. And at that time, we had just begun to implement the competence-based curriculum. I had looked around and I've seen the struggles that the teachers are facing. I had spoken with my fellow head teachers because, of course, the meetings with the other head teachers. And I had seen the pain. And you know me.
I know you.
I am restless. Such situations make me very
They
restless.
provoke you.
We can do better. It's always,
we can do better.
And there is a way.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be the person. It's, but with the head teachership and what, you weigh down so much.
With a lot of,
need, yes.
Yeah.
But to chart the way, you need to be less loaded. And so I needed to be less loaded. But so all these things were coming up. And so when I saw that ad on the WhatsApp, it's literally a 1-page thing, a DAAD scholarship, that's the German education exchange program. And they were advertising in-region scholarships to be hosted at Moi University for East and Southern Africa. I had that already, that weight of the competence-based curriculum and what we can do better. And so I based my concept note off of that. It was not a struggle at all. I had all the material because I had burden. It was
so you had been researching
burden.
And you were...
I had not even been searching, but I had the experience.
Yeah.
And that's all they needed. They needed to see the burden and the passion for this, because they're always about making life better for your community. And so I went and I applied, and I was shortlisted. And happily in August, I received the news. I was interviewed. I received the news that I had been selected, and that began my PhD journey.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was really, really, it was unbelievable almost. It was a dream come true, because it was, I knew if I was going to do a PhD, I couldn't sponsor myself. It was impossible. And so it was sort of a heavenly rubber stamp that you're on the right path and contributing to the profession that I love and, education. And so I was blessed in that way too. So I did not know anyone at all.
Yeah.
I was interviewed by a panel of Germans and Kenyans and only one Ugandan. I knew no one literally. Yeah. But I would say that when you are passionate about something and you are straight about what you want to do in life, things fall into place.
Things do fall into place.
Yeah.
I think I'm a teacher out there, and I'm hearing your story. I'm very inspired, challenged. Something is moving on the inside of me, but unlike you, I feel like I'm not sure what to master in or what to, do a course in. At this point, you may draw from your experience or from what you have had other people or teachers do. What are some of the things I could consider while selecting? Because, the resources are one thing, the time is another, but even just selecting the right course to master in or do a PhD in, sometimes you're like, what do I do? Let me just go and do human resources because it's what's easy. How do I actually make that decision to master or do a PhD in something?
Do you know something, Flavia? I was shocked to realize that there is so much we can do.
Yeah.
So much. We make a mistake of thinking that we have to do it at that high level.
Yes.
At the master.
Yes.
PhD.
Yes.
When you could just start with what you have.
Yes.
There is an interest you have.
Yes.
there is a passion.
Yes.
There's an area of responsibility that your boss keeps giving you.
Yes.
Go and pick exams, or take care of this sports activity,
Yeah.
and you find it interesting. Maybe you are now very much into AI things.
Yes.
Start from there.
They're making you curious. That you
Exactly.
want to know more about.
There's a craft thing that you really enjoy.
Start from there and then build off of that.
Every teachers have so many interests.
Yes.
And there are so many opportunities to do different things within the education space. There's so many.
So many.
And so I would say start with your area of interest or what you're doing already. And then grow from there. Grow in that. Look out for courses that you can do. Get
in that
certifications.
particular area.
Get certifications. Seek out opportunities to practice that. Even if it is outside the school, even better. Volunteer somewhere. All those networks you're creating, all that skill you're building, it matters.
It does.
And it will, that is growth.
Yeah, that's growth in itself. Okay. Now, you mentioned something that I'd want to build off of. Yeah. You found this scholarship randomly.
Yes.
WhatsApp, something just came to you. And I'm wondering, where do I get those random WhatsApp messages? Do I look somewhere?
I know.
Is there a website? Like how? How do I also get lucky to just land on that message that might be the
Thankfully, you don't have to rely on luck. Now that I'm in those spaces, there are actually very many, very, very many scholarships, especially for the women.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
There are so many organizations willing to sponsor a woman. The fellowships, the one you did, the 3-month one. There are actually, I think it is just, we need to search. Right now, we live in an age where information is at your fingertip. Grow curious. Go on the internet. Now we even have AI that can narrow it down for you. Just go to ChatGPT or Gemini. Give me a list of this. And you will find they are there. And then, Flavia, the challenge is not finding those opportunities. The challenge is applying for them.
Yep.
Because we often, we minimize us. I'm not good enough.
And that's a voice that I've heard in very many of the teaching profession. They're like, that's probably for those guys. It's not for me. How do I fight that voice and go beyond and actually take action?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need to realize that you deserve that opportunity. You have valuable experience. Just the fact that you've been in that classroom interfacing with those children, you'd be surprised how many professors out there crave your experience. They truly do. You have your own, your own status as a Ugandan nursery school teacher. It's precious. It's enough. So go for those opportunities. That we put ourselves down. We imagine I don't have the English.
Yes.
That has
they
never
don't need
been
the English. They need your experience.
Your willingness. Bring yourself. Bring your willingness and grow from there. So just present yourself as you are. Take that opportunity. Fight that voice that says you're not good enough. This is not for the likes of you. You don't even have the time. You don't have the money. How will you even do this? When you can overcome that voice, when you can climb over that hill, you're going to break through and you'll be so glad you did. You'll be so glad because I could have discarded that, and thought, I'm too busy. It's even 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
What can I do in these 2 weeks?
I have to lesson plan. I have to do this. I can't take on an extra responsibility.
I think, Flavia, if anything that the teachers would take away from this podcast today, please give yourself a chance. You deserve it.
Oh.
And your future will thank you for it.
Oh, gold. You've preempted my next question now, but
yes.
real gold.
Mm.
Just give yourself a
Yeah,
chance.
give
I
yourself
think
a chance.
I think
Mm.
that's amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Mhm.
sharing that. I'm as we give ourselves a chance.
Mm.
I have, just like you, probably tried to apply for
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
of opportunities here and there. And you have explained and shared with us, we can try the internet, narrow down our search and all. But I've applied for fellowships where you literally need, I don't know how many documents, and it's
Yes.
taking you so much
Mm.
time, and you do not have probably you look at it
Mm.
and you're like, you know what, I think
Mhm. I know.
it's okay. I'll let somebody else do
Yes.
that. Is there a hack? Is there a way I can do it easier or faster
Mm.
or better? I don't know.
I think information is the key.
Yes.
Talk to people that you know have been in that space. I realize that many times we try to go it alone and we fail. Even in applying for my PhD, I actually had to reach out to a friend and say, please go through this concept. And they would give back, they sent it back. This is not clear. I don't get the problem. We worked on the problem. Okay, it's better, but not quite there. No. So don't go it alone. Keep reading, keep researching. If it is something that you truly want, equip yourself with the information. The information is there. You just need. So even with the AI is an excellent companion. So you just chat and say, you are a senior, maybe you are a student support. No, I want to do this as a seasoned student support expert. What should I look out for? And then you know it will give you the skills. Then also seek out people who've been in those spaces. Before I applied for my PhD, I was a head teacher, like I told you. I began to speak to parents who are doctors, PhDs. So what is this about? How does it work? You know, I knew so little about the PhD space, but I began to speak with them. And so knowledge is power. That's what I can say, Flavia. And then persistence. You will fail the first. You could even fail the next
Second
5
time.
and 6.
Yeah.
But keep
Do not
trying, keep
give up.
persisting. Broaden your horizons. You'll get the one that's meant for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Mercy, for sharing with us. I am extremely inspired.
Thank
I
you.
wanted you to leave us with a word for the teachers, but like I said, you already preempted it. If you could just
Absolutely.
tell them one more time, what's that one thing that you want to leave them with?
Yes.
And then we can just wrap it up.
Yeah. Please, teachers, give yourself a chance. You deserve it. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to tell your children, I was a teacher for this long. And while I was a teacher, I achieved this, I did this. I have a cousin. He is a teacher. He was a teacher for a very long time of biology and chemistry in Gayaza. But he had a passion for sports. And that sports took him to many countries around the world as a teacher, still a teacher. But now he's working with even the Ministry of Education with sports, in sports issues, just out of his passion for
that
sports. So do not limit yourself. You can just sit back and think through, what is it that I have? Like God told Moses,
what
what's
is it that I have in
your
my hands? Yeah, what is it that you have in your hands?
Don't die with that thing that you have it. But Mom, you were so good at crafts. What did you do with it?
Yeah, nothing.
But Mom, you were so talented at teaching children how to read. What did you do with it? You know? And God has given you us an opportunity. Flavia, I'm not a gifted, and obviously, I don't have the arts, the water, but I would say my own area of strength is in the ideas. I'm an ideas person. And so that is where now I pursued. And by the grace of God, that is where I want to keep going. I want to make this Africa, the African child has the opportunity for an excellent education. Because I was that child who didn't have very many chances. But look where I am now. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
That child who was told to sit down and maybe, hopefully, let's try, that child who did not have, I went to very good schools because of the academic, in primary school. I did it in Kenya. That time we were in Kenya, I passed really well. I was third in the Rift Valley province back then. I was called to a national school in Kenya, Loreto Girls High School, Limuru. And I was a poor girl among very wealthy girls who would get pocket monies of in excess of 1,000, 5,000 Kenya shillings. The best my dad could afford was 100, 200 for the whole term. But that did not stop me. So there is so much that we can do. You need to look back and say, this is where I've come from. Never settle. Never look down on yourself. And like I said, I will repeat it. Give yourself a chance.
Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Mercy.
Oh, what a pleasure. What a pleasure.
I am hoping that one teacher will listen to this.
I hope so.
And will be challenged to not settle and to give themselves a chance. I don't know what you're passionate about. I don't know what that nudge has been, but if you've been sitting on it after listening to this, take action. Look for that fellowship, look for that course, look for that opportunity and get it. Start immediately. Put that skill to use.
Yeah.
That is how you begin to grow and continue to broaden your horizons. And let's have every teacher in the classroom thriving.
Absolutely.
Not just settling for, the bare minimum.
Yeah.
If we challenge ourselves, I think the sky is the limit to what we can do in those classrooms for our children, but even for ourselves. So this has been the podcast or episode on teacher growth. I hope you have been blessed by it. I continue to say, if there is a teacher or somebody out there that you'd love to hear from who has some valuable information to share, please feel free to be able to leave the comment or the name in the comment section, and we shall be sure to find that teacher and bring them to the podcast so you can get to hear from them. Also, please, if you'd like to hear or not miss an episode of the Teacher Podcast, please subscribe so that whenever it's out, you can get a notification and you don't miss an episode. Again, this is Teacher Flavia, and this is a space where we amplify the voices, the journeys, and the ideas of the educators in the classroom making a difference. We hope that in this space, you will get inspired, you'll get motivated, and you'll get equipped to thrive and not just survive. Thank you so much. See you. Bye. Bye.